I just think every hockey person and hockey player and coach at this time of year, it's every day it goes by. You wish it was sooner, but now it's here, so we're all excited about getting ready. And as coaches go, we get excited about trying to, things that we didn't do well last year, get off on the right foot. Not hockey wise, but I mean as coaches, we'll sit there and we'll go, what didn't I really stress last year at the beginning, and it went a little haywire. We get do-overs, and so I think that's a real exciting part for coaches to start the year.
Bruce, you're scrimmaging every day, which is kind of unusual for Canucks camp. Does part of that have to do with the fact you've got so many new additions, or just the way you like to run your camps?
It's I don't know. It's a little bit different. I'm not used to scrimmaging as well, but I mean it's just through conversation and doing things that we all wanted to do and see. We want to see the players in action. So, and it's only for the first 3 days. You won't see any scrimmages once we get back here.
Just to follow up too, your players obviously talked about the same thing this morning. It's about getting to the playoffs and doing something once they're there. JT talked about, it's not so much trying to replicate his 99 points, which is going to be difficult. He talked about being a much more complete player, especially on the defensive side. What does that mean to you as a coach? Because I know you hold him in high regard.
Yeah, I mean, it just proves that he's all about winning, and I mean, the points will take care of himself. He's going to be put in a position to get them, and he's skilled enough to get a lot of points. But I mean, when you start thinking about the winning, and if everybody thinks that way, then it doesn't matter who does what, and you'll be a successful team. So to hear JT talk like that it's really promising.
Bruce, a procedural question. Just as far as you know, everybody that's on the roster healthy and available to hit the ice tomorrow?
I certainly hope so. I mean, from nobody's told me any different. So I mean, everybody we have right now is ready to go.
And what will you be looking for from Kuzmenko? And how long do you think it's going to take for you to get a book on, his comfort level and ultimately what he's able to bring to this?
Well, I think more with him is the pace. Like I just have to believe that the pace in the NHL is a little quicker than the pace in the KHL. And a lot of times I think that you get skilled players that they stay on the ice a little too long in other leagues. I mean, there won't be minute and 10 average shift. It's going hard for 40 seconds and then getting off. And so I want to see those things. There's no doubt about his skill. He's skilled. He can play. He's excited to play. He's a really colorful guy. I kind of believe if he does good, he's going to take the town by storm. But it's if he can just the rigors, the physicality. Can he handle the physicality? Is he willing to go to the dirty areas to get the goals that I don't think other leagues provide stiff competition for that? Those are the things you're going to look for.
Bruce, you talked about the winning attitude. JT talked about it. When we asked Bo, I said there was one thing about being a team grinding to get in the playoffs, and then there's being a playoff team. He said, we want to be a playoff team contending for the Stanley Cup. Anything else is a failure. Would you agree? Do you see this team set up for that kind of success?
Well, I firmly believe in our team. I believe in this group. I believe that we're a good hockey team, ever since I got here, they've showed me no other reason to believe that. So, I mean, I know it's a new season, but I got to believe that we're capable of taking off where we've left off, and I think if you look at it on paper, we're a better team now than we were at the end of the year. So, I mean, there's, most teams are, but I mean, there's no reason for me to think that we're not capable of doing some pretty good things here.
I want to take you back a month ago. You did something pretty special. You went to Williamsburg, Pennsylvania to chat with the
Oh, yeah.
Canadian champs. How was your summer? How did that all come about? What did it mean to you to see the kids in that environment? Is that
Well,
special for them?
yeah, you know what? I woke up one morning, I live in Hershey, which is about an hour and 45 minutes away, and I was reading because me and my son, we've been watching this forever, and the Little League World Series, and looked at, and we always look how Canada does, but it always said Canada. And so then it said Canada Vancouver's team. And I went, holy, like I said, I got to go there. You know, I mean, they support us like crazy. I got to go there and support them. So I told my wife, and we just, we got in the car and we went there, and I asked there if I could speak to the kids and wish them well, and that we're behind them and all of Canada's behind them. And that was it. It was great. The only thing wrong was a 3-hour rain delay. So we got back at around 1 o'clock in the morning. But other than that, it was a fabulous experience for us. It's amazing to see those kids. And, you know, we invited them to one of our games, and hopefully they'll all show up one day.
Last year you spoke about getting the chance to coach again. I'm wondering how much you enjoyed last year, and has it amplified your excitement for this year? Because you're always very animated with the challenges. We can see how much this means to you, how much you love the game. Is it amplified even more now?
Yeah, like, I mean, you never know when it's going to end. And I had my longest drought of being behind a bench or being playing in my life before this opportunity came around. And I just want to, like, I love it so much. I mean, I could do it 12 months a year. I mean, don't get tired of it and get excited about the prospects of it. And, you know, you hope it can go on forever, but I'm going to enjoy it because you love the game and you love the people you deal with, even you guys most of the time. But it's so it's I'm so happy it's starting. I can't wait to get started.
You talked earlier about picking up where you left off a year ago. Patrick was asked about that. Similarly, he said, whatever people think of those last 50 games, it wasn't good enough because we didn't make the playoffs. So let's stop talking about it. We need to be better. Do you still view last year as a launch point, or that it wasn't good enough and we need to just start over again?
Well, it was it was a belief point that when I got here, they didn't believe that they could do it. But I think now, talking to them in the summer, they all believe that they're capable of doing it, and not making the playoffs would be, you know, it would be a big disaster for us, I think, individually and collectively. I mean, because but to make the playoffs, we have to do better and be more consistent over 82 games, not just not 56 games or whatever the amount of the number was. So it's I would be disappointed and would call it a failure if we didn't succeed in our goals this year.
I know we joked about it at the golf tournament about just the comments at the end of last season from Patrick and Jim about structure and improvements in that area. What does that structure look like for you now? Like, what are you going to try to establish in terms of defensive systems this training camp?
Well, I mean, I think our systems are fine. It's just doing it and making sure we do it properly. Not the systems, but we get the results of tape-to-tape passes, winning battles on the boards. I mean, that's what they were talking about. It wasn't the structure of the game, because I mean, look at we ended up in the last 56 games 5th overall defensively. So we must be doing something right, and so it's if we can make sure that everybody from the start, we're talking about good habits, and what I earlier said is things that you might have let slip and slide, you get on them in the first day of practice and you don't let up on them, then I think we'll be fine all the way through.
How will you manage Tucker Poolman in camp? Like, do you need to push him to see if he can handle it, or do you take a more conservative approach?
Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, everybody's from doctors to Tucker have said he's ready to go. So I mean, we'll probably, after these 3 days, throw him in the deep end right off the bat, see how it is.
Bruce, after so many changes during the summer, your coaching staff, the Abbotsford coaching staff, their development, all that, how valuable was it to have the whole brain trust together in Penticton and have a few days of sort of bonding and getting a chance to just sort of
Well,
get to know everybody?
for the coaching staff, we've been together since September 1st every day for at least 7:30 till 2:30 every day. So I mean, we've I think become pretty close pretty quick, and we're all on the same page. So that was my main concern, is making sure we're all together as a coaching staff. And getting up there in Penticton, seeing the scouts and everything, no one wanting to know what they're looking for in our, and even like saying, okay, what's this guy like? You've seen him play junior, you've seen him play college. Give me more insight that I had, because I haven't seen him yet. Those are the important things, So I think everybody's improved, everybody's excited, and we can't wait to start, like every other team. But
And were there any Canucks players that you saw in Penticton that sort of jumped off the ice at you?
well, I mean, they didn't jump off the ice, but I mean, when we went there, like, because we looked at I didn't know any of the rosters, quite frankly, and you look and one team has 4 first rounders, another team has 2, and we didn't have that. I was wondering how we would, stand up to these guys, but I thought our work ethic, the young players, was outstanding, and we outworked everybody. I didn't see the third game, but I thought that was really going to be the cornerstone of what the Canucks are all about. Is we want to be in your face, outworking every team, making it very difficult for you to play against us. And as far as the individuals go, I mean, it's interesting to see how an 18-year-old Klimovich was growing up a little bit, and you'd see the Carlsons and the Almonds and the Bains and these guys that you don't know any at all of a sudden saying, yeah, you know what, he shows signs. So those were all good things.
Special teams league, Bruce, in the second half you guys were dynamic. The power play, PK, top 10 in the league. You probably know Mikheyev just from his Toronto time, but JT talked about how he kind of breezed by him a few times in informal skates because he skates so well. What dimension can he add to the PK? I think he had 4 shorthanded goals last year.
Well, you know what? When he's out there, it puts the PP on the defensive. I would venture to guess every pre-scout, they're sitting there talking about, when we've got the power play, we can't cheat on it, because if they get possession, he takes off, and if we can hit him with a pass, he's going to have a breakaway. I mean, so that's always a positive thing. But I mean, I think he's just a good PKer overall, which is it's great that he scored goals. The number one goal is to not make sure that the other team doesn't score on the power play. So he's going to add to that dimension. He's going to add to the speed dimension of the team, which, I mean, people would have said that we weren't the quickest team last year, but this is an added thing that's going to be great. I mean, I watched the Leafs so much, not only last year but the last couple of years, and always thought that he was underused, and thought that, I mean, given more dynamic, maybe 2 or 3 minutes more a game, that his production would go way up. So hopefully that can happen with us.
When you look at the wingers that have been brought in, how many different lines have you created in your head before coming into training camp?
How high a number can you think? I mean, and not only different lines, but playing the right side, playing the left side. The only thing I really know is that we want to start with Bo, Petey, and JT up the middle, and everybody else is either, we've had lineups where they're playing the left side and the right side, and talked to all of them where how they like playing this, if I plan on moving them to a different spot. And but hockey's one of those things where line changes happen on a daily basis almost. So I mean, and everything is, one injury could mean 3 different line changes. So I mean, at the start in tomorrow's practice, we'll have the lines, at least 4 lines that we're hoping look like opening night, but the next day they may all be changed. So who knows?
Do the scrimmages help with that then? Like having so many scrimmages, does that help you test those lines?
Well, it makes them get to know each other a little bit better, I would think. That would be the main thing, if they go all out in the scrimmages, which we'll tend to see.
Bruce, does that change the way that you'll go about maybe the lineups you'll put together for exhibition games, because you've got the different combinations, you've got so many different possibilities for those sports?
Yeah, like, I mean, the tough one will be Sunday, because we got to put 2 teams together and X amount of veterans in each game. So, but I tend to think I'm going to try, like, for example, in Penticton, there was a line of Waters, Klimovich, and Nielsen, and they played well together. So why wouldn't I keep them together here? and so we're going to do that. And I mean, and in preseason, at least the first couple games, the lines that we have out there, we're going to try to keep them together as a unit rather than saying, okay, JT, you're playing, but Besser's not playing, so we'll put another guy up. I'm trying to keep the lines together to keep some familiarity with them.
Bruce, I was going to ask you about that habit of keeping lines as consistent as possible as your new group adjusts to one another. Do you use training camp perhaps to see with some of the wild card things we've talked about, which defender can play the right side, a Kuzmenko thing, for example? Do you want to put them in premium positions right away so that you have a good sense of sort of where they're at immediately?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to just put them somewhere and then change them at the last week. I think, you got all this time for training camp. Let's put Kuzmenko on the left side right away, and let's see how he goes. Let's start Garland on the left side. See how he likes it. I know he can always go back to the right side, but he's talked or no, he hasn't talked. But I saw him play the last 10 games on the left side last year, and I thought he did a really good job, and things started to open up for him. So I mean, if he's okay with it, let's try him on the left side, and let's see if maybe somebody else can play the right side in that line. So that's an experiment that we're going to try right off the bat.
One thing you accomplished in your 57 games here is obviously we all know that Pettersson struggled in the first half, even took 10, 12 games while you were here, and then after that Florida trip, we saw him score at a 40-goal, 90-point pace the rest of the way. He talked about grappling with that, learning about himself this offseason, almost mentioned having two versions of himself last season. What conversations have you had with him? How do you make sure that he begins the year as the second version of that?
Well, I think the big part was that he committed himself this year to having a great summer of working out, and he's healthy. And I think if you look at last year, I mean, he had the wrist injury. He's had the holdout. There's been no excuses in his mind for him not to come in and be the player he can be. And every time I've talked to him, he's been like over the moon, ecstatically, can't wait, all of those adjectives that you can talk about him. So I'm excited to see him play. I think he'll come in, and I don't want to put any pressure on him, but I think he wants to show the world the real PD is for 82 games and beyond. And I think I'm hoping that that's what we see.
You talked about the coaches' meetings that you've had and meeting with the AHL coaches. How important is it to kind of play the similar or same system between the AHL and NHL so that players that get called up are able to step right in?
I think we make more of it than it really is, quite frankly. I mean, I've talked to Jeremy, and I said, listen, Jeremy, our team is built the way it is. We'd love for you to be able to play the way we do, but if you don't have the people to do what we're trying to accomplish, then you got to play to win. Like, I mean, that's, to me, the best way to develop is to get a winning mindset. I was very lucky in Hershey when I went there. We won 4 out of 5 cups in 5 years in the American League, and consequently the Caps have been great, for 15 years. I think it's the same thing down there. If he can try to do what we're doing, and he's going to be there all of camp doing it, but if all of a sudden their personnel aren't quite up to it, if they have to trap more, or if they have to be more aggressive, I don't know yet. Then he's going to do what they got to do to win. So, I mean, every time they come up, they'll be playing our way in training camp, and it doesn't take long to get them acclimated to doing what they're doing. From my experience of being called up, that, I mean, you just want to play, and you're going to give it your all, and you're going to play your hardest, and you're probably not going to play 19 minutes, but I mean, you'll be fine because you'll be so acute to what you have to do that you'll do it.
Time for a couple more.
Bruce, what about the opportunity for Jack Rathbone? Had a fine season in the AHL, got the call up late on the emergency basis, couldn't get into the lineup, but I I know you were asked about him at times last year, and I think he was just a name to you, essentially. How much more do you know about the player, and what about the opportunity here?
Well, I'm excited to see him, and he's in the mix. There's no doubt. Like, I mean, when you look at guys that have got a great chance of being here at the season starts, at the start of the season, he's right there. I mean, obviously, a lot will depend on him, but I'm excited to see him. Trent has said so many good things about him that it's going to be really interesting to watch him play.
How much will that depend also on someone like Hughes or Larson moving to the right side and opening up an opportunity on the left?
You know, I don't know if he's good enough to play, and he makes our team I don't know if we're carrying 8 or 7 to start with, but I mean, if he's good enough, I don't care if which way he shoots, he'll be here.
Bruce, you have stability with JT Miller now going into the season, but there's a couple of key pending unrestricted free agents in
Who?
that and yourself.
Oh,
Managing that from the perspective of getting out of the gates well and not having any distractions, just wanted to ask about it.
well, I mean, I think everybody, you know, you can talk to everybody all for the next 2 weeks, and they all want to get out of the gate well, and I think that's something that the great learning curve on that is they didn't last year, and they saw what happened and how frustrated they were when they thought they were a playoff team at the end of the year, but they weren't in the playoffs because we didn't have the start that we would have liked. So, I mean, I think that's always in the back of everybody's mind. I mean, every team is saying the same thing, though, and that's what makes sport so great is Edmonton wants to get out to a great start. And, you know, that first road trip is not going to be the easiest thing we've ever encountered, but we'll be ready for it.